We are going to introduce the survey report on the identification of trends and needs for Atlantic cultural creative industries towards Generation Z habits and demands. This report has been carried out in the framework of the 4H Create project that was supported by the Interreg Atlantic Area Program of the European Union. My name is Ivan Corbat. I'm senior consultant at Grupo Dex in Spain. Expert on cultural management and international cooperation, and we've been working on this report together with Seville Chamber of Commerce in southern Spain, Andalusia. So during this short presentation, I'll broadly introduce you to the objectives, methodology, and the main characteristics of Generation Z, and explain the main outcomes and results we got from the surveys, mostly from Generation Z and the cultural creative industries, in order to present at the end some first general conclusions. Well, first of all, the general objectives of the report was to carry out a diagnostic and exhaustive analysis about the necessity of creating new business models, process and technological trends for companies and institutions that belong to the creative and cultural industries field in order to adapt their activities to the demand of Generation Z niche market. So among the specific objectives, well, concerning Generation Z, it was mostly to analyze the tendencies and tastes of this niche market, as well as the different tools, platforms, and that are currently being used by young people. For companies, it was more to know about their innovation skills and knowledge of the CCIs, as well as about their own needs and potential, especially towards this Generation Z niche market. And for the institutions, it is to contribute to the implementation of measures designed to nurture the spillover effects of CCIs in the broader economy and society. Very briefly concerning the methodology, we have distributed three kinds of questionnaires in order to collect answers from three different kinds of target groups. First of all, of course, Generation Z people, where we got over 450 answers. We also received some 130 answers from cultural creative industries who have collaborated in this research, plus some 28 answers from different kind of public and private organizations. These survey was organized, took place between May and October 2018. It was mostly distributed through internet, social media, but we also had some face-to-face meetings. From a geographical perspective, it's important to highlight that around 70% of the answers that we've received from the Generation Z came from the regions of the partners in this project. That means Asturias and Andalusia in Spain, Lisboa and Centro de Portugal in Portugal, Pays de Loire and Quimper in France, Limerick area in Ireland, and also from Scotland, mostly from Glasgow. Concerning the profiles of the people who have answered the survey, it's important to highlight that we had a balanced distribution of the profiles in terms of gender, age, level of education, as far as Generation Z is concerned. From the institutions, different profiles, mostly public ones, including academic research and, of course, cultural institutions. And as far as the 130 companies who have collaborated in this research, we have intended to cover the whole value chain. So as you can see on the graph, we had mostly creator of contents, but also had got some answers from producers of contents, intermediary companies and distributors. Here are some general global demographic characteristics about Generation Z as a quick reminder. There are several theories about their age. We can say that it's more or less a generation of young people born around year 2000. Among some key characteristics, I would remind that they prefer to be entrepreneurs rather than employees, that they are digitally overconnected, used to work on multiple tasks and on multiple screens at the same time as the first digitally born generation. Among their concern, social issues and environment is, of course, very important, but also as people who have grown through the last economic crisis, their parents' job security is important to them as well. Um, in any case, I'm not going to discuss too much the general characteristics of these generations, as you can get further details in a separate presentation from Avila City Council that's been prepared for this cycle of webinars. But I really wanted to remind that these young people from Generation Z represent 25% of the world population and are more influent, much more influent than their millennial predecessors, which is very important from the market perspective. 93% of the parents say that they have significant influence in the family purchasing decisions. 93%. And 63% point out that they are determinant for the vacation place choice. So this influential capacity implies that Generation Z is a very decisive target for any company, but particularly for cultural and creative industries. To gain Generation Z as clients is a main driver for competitiveness. Generation Z leisure pattern is strongly linked to technologies and online consumptions. As you can see in these three groups of consumptions, well, you'll find among their interests mostly online music, social media, influencers, or as far as audiovisual is concerned, video, film on demand, photos, or virtual realities. They are also very much interested in apps, education, gaming, and technical devices. So, concerning the key results of this our survey, well, as you can see on this graph, the top three activities are listen to music, learning activities, and surfing on the web. It is, in fact, quite surprising when we check the answer by countries that the most popular one in France, Portugal, and Scotland are learning activities. Teenagers are not interested in going into museums. The graph shows you here different kind of options of traditional, let's say, analog kind of consumption of cultural products, like going to the museum, theaters, see exhibitions, and so on. And well, according to the results received, they don't have much interest in these activities, museum, theater, exhibitions. They are very much interested, however, in concert, cinema, and of course in playing sport activities. Among their main topic of interest, they are very much interested in fields such as environment, education, gender equality, social issues in general, a bit less interested in economics and finance, social entrepreneurships, and surprisingly in their answers, celebrities. Concerning the spending patterns of Generation Z, from our Atlantic area regions, they prefer to spend the money on traveling, buying clothes and video games, toys, e-books, jewelry, traditional books, application and software, or even high-tech equipment are not considered among their basic needs, at least as far as spending the money is concerned. As mentioned before, they take into account price, quality, and branding, well, a bit less, only 13%. The price is the most important criteria when they are going to buy something. We've asked them, well, if you had an extra 200 euros, how would you spend your money? Well, a relatively large percentage of consumers from Generation Z would actually save the 200 euros. On the other hand, some 16-17% of consumers would spend their money on traveling or hanging out with friends or even buying clothes. Surprisingly, according to the answer obtained from our survey, 70% of teenagers would rather shop in a store rather than online. This is the case of most of the countries. Only the answer received from Scotland show clearly major interest in buying online. As far as the knowledge and interest of the cultural creative industries from the Atlantic area are concerned, among 80% of SMEs declare that they know what Generation Z is. The majority in each country are interested in this niche market, with rather high percentages of positive answer from Scotland and Portugal, 79 and 78% respectively, and reasonably high level of answers as well from Spain and France, or even Ireland. Through in this last case, the percentage of companies interested in this niche market is a bit lower. It's 56% only. But when we asked them about keywords in relation to Generation Z, they do not have a clear or homogeneous answer. Well, 60% of the companies declare that they have made changes to adapt themselves to Generation Z demand. 20% of the companies want to cooperate with other companies as far as new actions are concerned in order to adapt themselves and develop new business models and new opportunities. Other 19% of the companies plan to expand into new geographical markets. A similar percentage, 17%, think that diversification of activities, products, services for younger public target audiences is necessary. Some 14% say that they don't have a clear idea or strategy aimed at Generation Z. And a very low percentage of the companies declare that they have the real intention to create new digital products. Actually, if you see the graph on the right part of this slide, 37% of the companies only declare being ready to create new products. But really, despite the declared knowledge and efforts of the companies in our Atlantic areas toward Generation Z target groups, it seems that there is no clear common specialization in terms of specific products or services. The only common ground is again the relation with the digital world, since many of the services available to that market niche turn around social media, internet, mobile devices, or gaming, among the most relevant ones. It has to be reminded, in any case, that within the profile of the CCIs, most of them are micro companies. And you might get more specifications about it in the webinar that is given by our partner in this project, Ishte from Lisbon. In general, CCIs do not have a specific marketing department, nor mention specific products created ad hoc for younger generations, apart from the companies from the gaming industry that clearly focus on this target group. For each creators about quadruple helix, but let's analyze the triple helix intentions. As far as cooperation with other organizations is concerned, the cultural creative industries from our Atlantic regions have a relatively low level of habit of collaborations, maybe probably linked to their limited size, despite the needs of co-production of this sector. 23% of companies have developed joint projects with other organizations. Another 23% have participated in meetings arranged by others, 19% in workshops aimed at promoting knowledge. Some have contributed to the content of training courses. Around 12% of the companies that have answered our survey are established in incubators, and 6% have some of their staff working at third organizations. But only 4% of companies have developed patents, trademarks, or designs shared with other organizations. As you can see on the graph on the left, 10% of the companies collaborate or are willing to cooperate with other companies of the creative industries, public sector, business associations, or public universities. This is a relatively low percentage from our perspective. Concerning the needs of the cultural creative industries, majority of the companies that have answered our survey believe that they should adapt or change their design or improve the quality of their products and services in order to reach that generation niche market, and that represented some 40% of the answers, while some 30% also think that they have to invest into technological resources and communication. As the social issues, environmental issues are so important for this target niche, these profiles of young people, some 9% of the companies believe that it would be good to modify their culture and corporate social responsibilities activities, and only 6% believe that decreasing costs or adjusting methods of payments is important. As far as the kind of assistance needed, requested by the companies, the support that they would like to get from other third intermediary institutions, well, as it occurs in many cases, financial support, in this case for technological investment, is the most requested kind of service by the companies. But it's not only a question of money. They also request about training in new methods of online marketing, and especially in France, for example, some companies insisted about the fact that platforms or meeting events with the consumers directly would be particularly helpful. Around the other specific needs of the cultural creative industries, well, many of them insist on the technical knowledge, business knowledge, and sociocultural knowledge. A lower percentage, 13%, mentioned aesthetic knowledge as well, and aesthetic changes. It is important to highlight that 33% of the companies that we've interviewed think that research centers and universities do not promote enough meeting points with the subsector to trigger the flow of knowledge. So here are some general conclusions. The creative and cultural sector is large and diverse. There are too many differences between digital and traditional industry regarding innovation strategies. Companies are subject to market trends and demands with high dynamism and faster changes. Society of fast changes, high mobility of capital and technology is also of importance and impact for the companies. Most of the companies use social media and network communications, online contents, and have some tech experiences as far as technological products are concerned. But it is important, above all, to highlight that creative industries are composed of talented people, dynamic, and with a robust capacity of faster adaptation to market trends. And finally, some general conclusions or reminders. Concerning Generation Z, here are some keywords. They are travelers, savers, co-designers, experience on video games. They're worried about prices, also with quality and design, of course. They are Instagrammers and YouTubers alike, particularly enjoy online learning and or digital consumptions. They need fast responses and immediacy. As far as companies are concerned, there's a clear need of new business models in co-production processes, diversification, and internationalization. They want new business lines. More than half are interested in Generation Z. They also have a strong willingness to collaborate with other companies or research and business institutions in order to create new products, services, or processes. We haven't discussed much the institutions, third institutions and organizations today, but it's important to highlight that they do have experience in creating or designing training courses on online marketing and sales. They do support innovation based on culture, but they also have some difficulties to reach younger generations. They support entrepreneurships and innovation, among others with workplaces such as labs or incubators. Well, this was just a short presentation on some of the results from our report, but the full document report is of course available in the description below, and I'll be available to answer any of your questions you may have on the topics discussed in these presentations at the 4H Create Capitalization webinars. The details are available in the description below, and you are also free to contact me should you have any question. Thank you very much for your attention.